Welcome back to the Beast Wars episode reviews. We are on number 4 now. This is the episode Mercenary Pursuits. So, general plot for this one. You've got Megatron offering a prize to his Viacons, a reward if they can bring in the Maximals, to kind of give them a little bit of incentive or encouragement. Meanwhile, you've got Maximals who just learned that there were 2 of their compatriots on their shuttle home to Cybertron that they did not actually remember. So now it is a task to come up and find out what exactly happened to them. Again, it's an episode with a lot going on, which is going to be an ongoing theme. There's very few episodes where the episode generally is just kind of calm or just kind of there or filler. In this particular one, we've got more hijinks going on. There's actually a little bit more slapstick to this, which is nice because the show has been considerably dark to this point. So an episode where things get a little bit goofy is not too bad at this point, especially in the camp of the Viacons, where we really get to see them as characters for the first time here. Because in this episode, they get very competitive. Keep in mind, Megatron at no point in this episode mentions that only one of them is going to get rewarded for bringing in the Maximals. It is always mentioned that if everyone does it, if the Maximals are brought in, everyone gets to have the prize. Everyone gets rewarded. But they make it a competitive thing for literally no reason. Well, it is weird, but there is something to it. There is something to it. It does allow us to see something more of the personality of all the Viacons. So it actually lets us see them fleshed out a little bit. So that's not too bad. I will take that. And yeah, it is kind of interesting to see this cat and mouse game between Viacon and Maximal while the Viacons are actively trying to destroy each other. On the Maximal side of things, Primal has gone really somber. And of course, when he finds out that 2 of his closest friends, including Rhinox, who's been with him since the beginning of the Beast Wars, when he finds out that they are missing, now he's deeply concerned. Now he actually has something that takes him away from the survivor's guilt. So it's a little bit of a whiplash to see him going from incredibly hostile and snapping at the Maximals to this point where he's really subdued. So let's see, what else? What can we talk about here? So the main antics of the episode, this is where it really kind of gets slapsticky. This is the episode where Rat Trap finds the transformation enhancer. Kind of the opposite, the opposing of the transformation virus that sapped Cybertron in the first place. What's interesting to me about this is, well, one, it's showing Rat Trap's impatience to learn how to transform. It does let us see what his robot mode looks like for the first time. We'll get to that here in a minute. But it's also kind of the start of his more techno-styled arc, where he's starting to become the gadgety one of the team. I still don't like that because Black Arachnia was a gadgeteer in the original series, and now she just shows none of that. She's actually lost a level of intelligence in this series, which I don't like. I really don't like that. But this starts Rat Trap's little character arc of sorts. The design when it first came out was something of a debate amongst fans. Of course, there's cries of they've made Rat Trap a handicapped character for no reason. Some thought it was an homage to the wheels he had in his transmetal mode and saw it as a natural evolution of that. I really just kind of felt Rat Trap was them just trying to be a little bit different with how the cast is depicted. I will admit, of all the transformations in this series, I think I like his the best because it has a little bit of personality to it. It's not just one model growing out of the other while the first model shrinks. It's more interesting. It's more interesting with the wheels spinning around him. It's a little bit more fun of a transformation. So, that part of it I liked. The design itself, give it points for uniqueness. You could see it as the Oracle upgraded everyone but took away Rat Trap's legs in the process. You can look at it that way, which is weird. Admittedly, everyone else gets legs but him. But you also shouldn't really see it as any kind of handicap or anything. Rat Trap's still fully capable. I mean, it's a change for him, but he's never upset over it. He never lets it hamper him. And it'll take a while for him to earn his stripes amongst the team, but he will eventually. And there's really no reason to be upset because he doesn't have legs. He's still fully capable. There's nothing wrong with him. It's just a weird look is all. But weird looks in Transformers is not the hardest thing. It's not the worst thing you can do, right? So I never really minded the change too much. It's weird, but it's at least different. So that was my approach. We had a few things. The big development in this one was Tankor, who showed a lot of interesting aspects to him. For starters, yes, there's the fact that he's the one who brings the Maximals in. And he's the one who wants to claim the reward, which Megatron says is his freedom. And the Maximals surmise that this means he's volunteering to have his spark removed from his Viacon shell. He doesn't Are the Viacons actually prisoners? Well, they technically are prisoners in their own bodies because they are not naturally those people. They're forced that way over Megatron. But Jetstorm and Thrust seem to enjoy it. So what is it about is that why Tankor sounds like he's always in pain and always struggling to speak? Is that it? It's weird. It's a really weird element, and I don't think they ever touch on it again. In fact, this little twist in Tankor's personality gets a little bit weirder when we find out the truth behind Tankor, because now it doesn't really make sense that he would want out of his shell. It's an odd place. It's an odd position. In the episode, Primal actually gets to communicate directly with Tankor's spark, which is just a thing he can do now. We never really explained this, and this is the first time we're establishing this. But yes, he can just talk directly to someone's spark. He can spiritually connect with Tankor's spark. It actually lets him talk to the inner Tankor and actually appeal to the person rather than the programming. And it actually does make Tankor turn on Megatron temporarily. Megatron just accesses his brain and wipes the memory, and then blocks Primal from doing the same thing. Which has there's a funny little a funny little interlude where Optimus can't connect because Megatron's basically put an answering machine in the way, which is funny. It's weird. It's weird, but it's funny. It does. The whole sequence does kind of hint to what Tankor's spark really is. Of course, we know it. It's not a spoiler. I almost said it there because it's so used to it. But it hints to it. But when we see it later on, it makes it make less sense, which is weird. The episode itself is a little bit Looney Tune. There's a lot of slapsticky stuff going on, especially with Rat Trap, who's going nuts over the transformation enhancer. Now, I don't like that him finally transforming actually gets in the way because they're trying to evade Viacon detection, and now here he is transforming into robot mode, which puts them on the scanners. But it's not the first time. It's treated that he finally transforms as problematic. And in a couple episodes, they're going to do it again. And I'm really not happy about that. This is kind of the start of a bad sequence for Rat Trap that we're going to talk about in a couple days. We get one major teaser here. In that Optimus says the spark of Tankor does feel familiar. So that is at least a good point. That is at least a good tease to exactly what's to come. But it is a pretty easy one to figure out when you consider, we have two missing Maximals, and all of a sudden one of Tankor's sparks feels familiar somehow. Okay. Now we can kind of put together very quickly what's going on. So, that's basically Mercenary Pursuits. It's not really it's kind of a filler episode because it only teases at things in the overall story arc. It is mostly an episode to establish the Viacons and give us a really good look at who they are as characters. And while them starting to suddenly being very adversarial with each other over a hypothetical prize is a little bit, a little bit left field. It is still not bad. It still gives us a good look at them. I think it's worth doing something nonsensical like that with no explanation if it does allow us to explore the characters a little bit. So mostly because of Viacon hijinks and them just putting out an episode that is more light compared to the first three, I'm going to put it at enjoyable. I mean, it's not a bad episode. There's a lot of good stuff going on without it really getting bogged down by the things that are most hampered on with this series, like the over-spirituality or Megatron being wildly out of character, those kind of things. The only weirdness to this episode really is the fact that they started using these weird anime speedline scenes and stock footage transformation effects and these things, which feel really out of place. We're going to get into some more weird cinematography as the series goes on, because they just start getting experimental. But that's the episode. So thank you for joining me once again. And as the plan is for Beast Machines, hopefully I will see you tomorrow for the next one.
It's the bosun's turn. He's looking at TJ's character and he's just like, what you gonna do?
Right. I blew him a kiss.
I love him. I love him.
What the hell's your problem? He's just gonna pull his hand crossbow and just fire at you.
That's fair at this point.